So today we've got the guys in seeding, and they're going actually along, by the looks of things, all along the edges to start with, but they're putting in the seed for the rice. So yesterday it was ploughed and today the seed's going in, so they're doing it by hand there at the moment. I'm not sure whether that implement on the back can actually seed as well. It might be they're just sort of covering the edges first and then do the bulk of it with the machine. Anyway, 24 hours after it was ploughed yesterday. We're well and truly preparing for rice season, wet season, which is also quite hot. Other countries, different hemispheres, or further away from the equator, very often the wet season is a cold season, not here in Thailand. Now, we had the tractors come in. It's no longer all rough turned. The tractor came in and he went through and turned it once more, went through with the smaller blades on the plough and broke it right down. And then next day he came back and they proceeded to sow all of these fields. So over towards the sun there, we've got the one in front of us, then there's a second one and a third one, which is on line with the lily pond. But they go all the way down. Some of them have got a walkway through the middle of them. It makes it easier to manage them and work with them, because keep in mind, when the rice is growing, most of this is underwater. Can't walk through there. And anyway, so he came through and he sowed all the seed, and then he went through with the tractor again. This time he had the scarifier on the back, and so he's made this all quite level. A much smaller sort of grade of size of lumps, iron out the lumps, and it looks like real earth rather than clods. But you'll notice something new here, all the way down here between the rice field and the dam on this walkway, and that's this blue netting. Talni had a man come in yesterday and she bought a heap of netting, and we got a lot more bamboo stakes and things, and so the stakes went in, the netting went on, and it's put down into the actual earth a few inches there to hold the bottom of it. You may have seen this netting previously. You would have seen it mentioned and shown going along the road. The other side of those banana plants, there's last year's blue netting, and that normally goes all the way along there, so something will happen there. We'll get some more netting, but the purpose of that was always to stop the fish. The rainy nights, when the dams are full, hopping out of the dam, predominantly the catfish, and going across the road into somebody else's property, and well, that's just not on. They're telling these fish and she wants them, so the netting prevents that. But the second side of it too is that the majority of farms will end up with fish throughout their rice fields in the water there. They're quite happy to go off merrily into the rice fields, and Talni does a lot of fishing in the rice fields. But this year she decided, no, that's not on. I've got these two big beautiful dams here and one the other side of the house. I want the fish they put in the dam. I don't want to be chasing them out in the rice fields, so she's getting a bit serious with the fish. So the fish are in prison. They ain't going anywhere. Her own little Alcatraz. So that extends right down past the new dam, down here to the corner, which is where the solar powered pump is. That's in previous videos too, so if you're interested in that pump's down 51 meters. Sorry, the bore is down 51 meters. The pump's sitting at about 45. Can go deeper if it starts pumping air, but that's where it is at the moment. Solar powered, they're the panels. They're actually double-sided panels, so I hadn't come across them until the man turned up with them, so we'll find out more about that later, I'm sure. Some of you guys might know something about them too, and I'll be better informed from that. Yeah, so here's a walkway going out towards the road, which will probably get used quite a lot when everything else is flooded. Once all this new earth settles, obviously it's been disturbed, there's a lot of air in it, a bit of rain and water, and that'll settle down and shrink a bit, so we'll have to see where that ends up. Pump's been busy, filled both dams, I already said that, but also filled this clong, that's full as a goog, and then it overflowed and it filled all this, and the tractor was only just managing to get through it. It was a bit of a slurry, but that's no great drama. You'll probably end up with the rice actually growing here, or starting here, quicker than anywhere else, because there's so much sort of water in the ground there. But that's all good. But that's all preparation for rice season. Look at that beautiful sunset. That's absolutely magic. Love it. That's Thailand, guys. Amazing one day, even more beautiful the next. Beautiful. So that's where we're at. Change of seasons, change of activities. With the wet season coming, it's definitely welcomed. The past couple of days, the electric bore pump, which is down behind the house where the two tanks are in the tank room, that's been taking a long time to do its job. Predominantly it fills two 2,000 litre tanks, which gives us 4,000 litres above ground, and then a surface pump, which is a bit more powerful, delivers that out to all the extremities of the property. Now, yeah, we've got the solar in because we're using a lot of electricity using that setup, but it's been taking a long time to actually fill the tanks, and I found out that it's a lot of the time it's sucking air. So that suggests that however deep that pump is, and I'm not really sure until Emily can't tell me, it's sucking air. So it suggests that the water table has dropped to a point where that pump is only just immersed in it, and it'll only pump for a short while before it starts pumping air. So it's really marginal, which suggests that as everybody else sort of starts using water and the table goes down further, there's nothing for it to suck. So I spent all day sort of messing around with that. Initially we thought it might have been a problem with the pump. I had previously bought a stronger pump, a Hitachi 300 watt, to replace the 250 watt that was there. But at that time I found out that the problem we were having was the actual pressure switch. I changed that out and it worked perfectly, but I'd already bought the pump and as a backup in case it died completely. Well, as part of the actual diagnosis of the situation we had here, I thought I'd change it out and put a brand new pump in there, and if the problem's still there, then the problem's down the actual well. So that's where we're at the moment. It was pretty quick to change it out, but the situation, as normal, sort of snowballs. There was a lot of redundant pipe work from previous designs of reticulation and things that we've had, water going to different directions and by different means. Some of the joints getting that pump out, they looked a bit calcified, so it suggested that there was water leakage at some point, and I thought I'd be careful with those, so I was careful with them. But then at one point when I finally had to lift some pipe work to actually get the pump up off of some retaining bolts, they broke. So better it happened then than some other times, so I consequently replaced that pipe work. I reworked it, I simplified it and made it suit our needs of today rather than a jury-rigged version of what was there before. So got all that done and got it cranked up, pumped for a while, but then same problem. So yeah, the other pump's fine, we'll put it somewhere else or use it as a backup. This one can stay here. That's the new pump there. all bright and sparkling, a stainless steel Hitachi, what do they call it? It's a DP 300 PJ. That means that it's a deep well, and the PJ means that it's a double jet. There's 2 pipes going down to a Venturi unit, and the idea of that is that works better at greater depths. The single jet works to about 18 meters, and the double jet from 30 meters onwards. So sure, you can use it in more shallow wells than 30 meters, but it's not necessary until you get to that sort of depth. That's where we're at that moment. Then of course, once I'd done all that, I changed a few things, because the kitchen and the house were actually running directly off of that bore pump through a filter. The shower block and toilet I'd previously changed to run off of the surface pump, which was the square box one you saw beside the other one, which is that guy down there. That's got a lot more pressure and volume out of it than the other one did. So while we've got water in the 2 tanks, you see 2 of the guys there, 2,000 litres each, 4,000 above ground, and that guy pulls off of those tanks. The upright there, that keeps the tanks full. That does the lift and the filling of the tanks, and the other one does the pressure at distance. Previously we still had the kitchen running off of a 25mm pipe, so the kitchen is there. So the pipe there goes to the kitchen and taps outside of the house that side. There's another pipe to the left of it which goes into the shower and toilet block. Shower and toilet block was coming from the tanks using the surface pump. Kitchen was using it straight off of the deep well pump. When the deep well pump's pulling only air, all of that system basically fails. You're getting air through the taps. So that wasn't on, so I decided it was time the kitchen came onto the tanks as well. I cut and capped the pipe that was going here, the 25. I put in a T and a tap down under the ground. I've connected into the same 35mm open tap which does the shower block. So that got done. And then when I turned I didn't actually turn on, what did I do? Then when I'd completed all of that, to test it, the main supply from the tanks and from that square pump's just inside the tin there. You can hear it just started up then. It's somebody drawing somewhere. Okay, well it goes down here. The tap that was there, I'd turned off. And the moment I turned the damn thing on again, I had water pouring out of the actual base around the handle, which is where the shaft comes up out of the actual valve. Well, the seal had failed. There probably a build-up of calcium, and as you turned it, it probably tore the seal. So that was pouring out there, and of course the pump was starting and stopping, no taps open anywhere, but they're getting a pressure drop from that leak. So I cut out some redundant pipe there, put in 2 new taps, an elbow here. As you can see, I've been digging in the ground. I had to drain the water away from it so I could work on it dry with the pipe cement, and that's where we got to with that. So that was a pain. That was a whole day invested in that, and Talani pretty well invested her whole day in cutting and stripping and cooking corn. But yeah, we still have something more to do here. So we're towards the end of the dry season. We've obviously reached the point where the water table is critical. Yeah, where the end of those pipes are sitting now is level or above the water table. So at this point, normally they'll put a bore down however many meters, and then you put down the pipe work inside with the foot valve and everything. That never goes directly down to the bottom to the earth. You don't want that. It's normally 3, 4, 5 meters up from the bottom of the actual dug hole, suspended above that. So without really a lot of information on how much depth there is in the bore and how deep that pipe work is, at this point what I think I'm going to do is I've got a clamp on there to stop them dropping, but I'm going to cut the pipe work on the horizontals here, and I'm going to lift that out carefully and clamp it in stages. I could take it all the way out doing that and inspect all the pipe work, but for the moment I think what I'm going to do is reclamp it at 1/2 metre. Obviously I have to cut the pipes there. I can put joiners in there later or a new pipe, that's no drama, before it goes back down. And I'm going to add another metre of pipe, maybe a metre, metre and a half, the pipes deeper into the bore, and see if we get a result, see if the pump works perfectly. If it does, well, obviously with wet season coming, the water table is going to pick up. It won't make a lot of difference now, but this time next year those pipes will be down far enough that we don't experience another dry pumping air situation next year. We'll give it a try. Always a chance that that pump drain, that foot valve and the bottom of those pipes is close to the end, or there's a build-up of silt and earth at the bottom, and lowering the pipes down could produce muddy water, which might clear, it might pump out, or it might not. It might remain a bit dirty, in which case I'll probably have to pull the pipes up and take off the extension. Or consider having the guys come in and redo that bore, or put another one beside it or beyond, or however, whatever the safe distance is to actually drill near an existing bore. But we'll see how that unfolds. Suck it and see. We'll try the easy fix to start with and see how that goes. But that's where we're at the moment. Corn's cooking, sun's gone down, had a bit of wind, it's pretty grey over that side. We had some strong storms and some houses lost some roofs yesterday. Talani rushed out to a friend of hers in town. Boom, the papier salad lady, she lost the roof off the second story of the house where she lives with her family. Talani went off to help out there and see what could be done. But we didn't get the wind here. And she's only barely 2 kilometres as the crow flies away. But that's how it goes. It seems to travel in sort of corridors. She's directly over that direction. This time afternoon, the colours are so rich when the sun's just really horizontal or just hidden over the horizon. The colours are very vibrant, beautiful. Pretty much similar in the morning, but all good. We're still here. We're still kicking. We're still loving it. Wow. There is an enormous jackfruit in there, and you're seeing as I do. I hate hiding in there, but I bet you Talani knows it's there. That's enormous. That's the size of the average bucket, maybe a little bit taller. And there's another one hiding there. And there's a lot more there. Guys, I don't walk around with blinkers on, but Talani sees all of this stuff and points it out to me, or I say, hey, I just found it. Yeah, I know. She's already seen it. And she's been watching it. And she's waiting. That is incredible. Amazing. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. And please subscribe if you haven't already. And we'd love to have you back again. See you guys. Bye for now.